Thank you so much, and indeed we are glad to be joined by CEO, as I told you earlier while we were at Parliament, and we are privileged to be joined by the CEO, Madam Mercy Wambua from Law Society of Kenya. And today, as we have talked about, it is an International Youth Day. That is the World International Youth Day, where we'll be focusing on various issues regarding or revolving around the youth and how they're supposed to be empowered. And as I have told you today, I'm here at Kenya Law Society of Kenya, and I'm being joined by the CEO Law Society of Kenya, that is Madam Mercy Wambua. And today we'll be focusing on law and youth. How do the youth supposed to obey the law and how they're supposed to move on with law, keeping in mind that Madam Mercy Wambua is the CEO, and very young CEO, energetic and youthful CEO who has focus, and in his life he had focus before he get to this point. So we will be looking at the juncture, the perceptions to the community and the youth, and how they're supposed to focus on their life and how they're supposed to go with their life. And today being an international day, what are we supposed to learn from where we are, and we as the youth or youth outside there across the globe, what they're supposed to learn today and how they're supposed to keep themselves in their life. So for those people who are watching us, keep on sending your comments. I'm your host Kaka Juma, and we are live from Nairobi, Kenya at Law Society of Kenya, and we are joined by the CEO, Madam Mercy Wambua. So welcome, Madam Mercy Wambua. And this is Equatorial TV, an international, a young, growing international TV. And thank you for honoring our invitation. So today being an International World Day, for youth. Uh, First, we wish to know who is Madam Mercy and what are you doing?
Um, Mercy Wambua is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with close to 18 years practice since admission to practice law. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Law Society of Kenya. I've worked for the Law Society of Kenya for the last 12 years. Sorry, since 2012, that is 8 years, and have been the CEO of the Law Society of Kenya since the year 2016. It's been very exciting journey up to where we are, and very useful journey learning. We keep on learning new things every day, and we grow as leaders every day based on the experiences and challenges that we face every day. So before joining the Law Society of Kenya, I worked with various organizations. I've also worked with the government in the Ministry of Justice. I've worked for civil society organization, and majorly handling the rights and provision of legal aid services to the poor and the vulnerable in the society, majorly the women and children. So basically, that's my background, and that is who Mercy Wambua is.
So, Madam Mercy, let's now talk about the occupations. How did you manage to come or to get as the CEO for Law Society of Kenya and empowering the youth? You as a woman, you might be having some challenges you've gone through. What are some of the some of those of challenges and how you have encountered it? For those people who are watching, they might be having the same challenges and the same you're falling at the same category. What is your advice and how did you start it until you go to where you are?
Um, sure. As a young person, one, you need to work hard and believe in yourself. I'll say that is what has gotten me to where I am. I am a very hardworking person. Since my admission and whatever task I'm given, I give it my level best. I give it my whole, and that is a very important thing that as youth we need to embrace. Dedication. It's very important for one to grow and to also be able to achieve a lot in society. What is also important, and I'll say that has gotten me where I am, is building strong relationships. It's important to be able to be a reliable person, someone who people can rely on and exhibit your potential. And they'll only be able to rely on you if you're able to exhibit uh, potential and success. So I would urge the youth to work hard, to be able to build relationships, to keep their words, and also to be able to exhibit resilience in whatever they are doing.
let's talk about law and youth. At this age, you are the CEO and you have handled many cases before you came to be the CEO. In fact, you are a lawyer professionally. So there are some of the challenges, specifically as a woman of this nature and as a youth. What are those challenges that you have passed through and you've managed and you've come out? And somebody somewhere else is also undergoing through the same challenge and he want to achieve or she want to achieve. What are those challenges that you have passed through and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved and you've managed and you've come out and you've achieved Indeed, our members, we just want to apologize for the challenges that we've gone through. But today, being an international day for the youth, we are having an exclusive interview to ensure that we come up with the solutions that will build and mentor the youth in forthcoming and in our lifetime. And as I told you, we are hosting the CEO for Kenya, that is Law Society of Kenya, Madam Mary Wambua, and she was elaborating something on issues, energetic, how the youth are supposed to become more energetic and vibrant for them to work out to ensure that they are people who are supposed to deliver and come up with the various locations. Specifically, our guest is not on site, but he will be getting in touch with them. But we just want to get and see some of the comments that are required for us to ensure that youth. One, our CEO or our guest has told us that we're supposed to be vibrant, have that energetic, and be person of our passion. For you to become person of passion, you're supposed to be somebody who is supposed to know where you are heading. And specifically, youth have been confronted with various issues, drug abuse, other things that might affect their life easily. So what are we supposed to do to ensure that we come up with the solutions that will help the youth for them to be where they are? On our previous talk, we talked about the youth being mentored. We just youth require mentor. How do we, or where are we supposed to get those mentors? And for those people who are supposed to be mentored, what are we supposed to do for us to get or to be mentored? In this session and at this juncture, we will be able to discuss more issues regarding the youth, how they're supposed to do, and keeping in mind that at a certain particular age, youth are so much vibrant that they might be coming or being endured at a very various destinations to be told, do this and do this. The youth at large and in this particular world is supposed to correlate and come up with the solutions that might bring them into a very good understanding and understanding mode of where they're supposed to be. But at this particular place, you'll realize that most of youth are being used and endorsed and lured at a very particular place where you find what they are doing is not in relationship or in line with what they're supposed to do. But at this particular place, where do you think youth are going wrong? You can send it in your particulars, specifically on Facebook and WhatsApp, also Instagram. You can also search Kaka Juma Sauti ya Almaz on my Facebook site and also get dialed. Also, we wish to apologize in case of anything. We might be having some interference and network problems. We just wish to apologize for our viewers who are watching us live. You know, technicality comes with its consequences. And also, when you are streaming live, something else might come or might occur at any particular juncture for you to be realize it is too late. But we just wish to apologize. Whatever happened, we apologize because man is to error and technicality normally lets us down each and every time. So as we are waiting for our guest, that is Madam CEO Masi Wambua, we wish us to do the recap. What do you think youth are failing to do to be in line to what they're supposed to do? If you're watching us live from UK, that is in you also Canada, Great Manchester, that is in India, and other parts of the country, you can send in your views and tell us, Kaka Juma, you're watching us from, and what are some of the issues the youth are supposed to do to ensure that they come into line to what we call the systematic and movements with other people. For instance, one, we need to have that interest. We want to know, we want to correlate, have that relationship with other people so that we get to ensure that people whom we are relating, for instance, if you realize that this peer group that you're working with it is not a group to be minded, then it means you have to change the group. But if you have to go with the group, then it gets at a particular place, you find yourself in a mess, then it means you're supposed to blame the group that you've been moving in. So peer pressure sometimes also brings some people to a certain extent where you find yourself in a mess that you want or it might be regret. And that's why we are here at Law Society of Kenya, to know the law in our society. How do we relate the law? How do we respect and obey the law? The task forces that might be put in place, what are we supposed to be done? And the law normally is being applied across the scheme. So for us to be applied across the scheme, we suppose want to respect the law. When you find yourself breaking the law, then it means you are at a different world. So law is applicable. They say that law is like an axe. It cuts end and end. So for us to ensure that we don't get into a mess, Equatorial TV has taken an initiative to come to the Law Society of Kenya, being the CEO, being the youth and very energetic young lady who is also the falls under the category of the youth. He will be telling us all. He has been giving us more insight before we had some errors and some technicality problems on various issues. So I wish you send in your comments and tell us how far the youth are supposed to do, or what are some of the issues youth are not supposed to indulge in for them to be where they are, or they don't confronted with the law. Keeping in mind that today is an international law, today is an international youth day. What can we remember as youth? You can send in your feedback when you're watching us from Juba, when you're watching us from Egypt, when you're watching us from all the way from Somalia, uh, other parts of the country like Nigeria, and many other parts of the world, for those people who are watching us. I'm so glad to get some comments from various people. With time, I will be able to read those comments for us to know what is going on and how are we supposed to correlate with this life of engagement. And being an international youth day, what are we supposed to learn and how do we supposed to move on to ensure that we cater, we grow, we invest as youth? We're supposed to invest. What are we supposed to do, keeping in mind that various government has various policies to ensure that youth are involved in your country? Do you think the policies are supposed to be where it is? Because keeping in mind each and every person has its own regulations and mandatories and normal guides and rules, and that's what we call the rule of law. Are we able to come up with the solutions to ensure that we are all in one faith, so that as youth globally we get to learn and get to know each and know what are supposed to be done? As youth, what are you celebrating today as we end up these international world celebrations? What are we able to do to ensure that you come up with the solutions that will have to define your life in future, and come up with the solutions that will have to end your problem? Keeping in mind that youth are at that tender age. One, as on our previous talk, we have realized that youth are normally have some problems, especially when it comes to issues in relationship to work and investment. Some of the policies that have been put in place might be hindering or might be favorable to you for you to work. Have you invested? Have you done more about your youthful age? As they say, youth is like smoke. When it goes, then it normally, when it goes, it is like that. At your tender age, what are you going to celebrate when you say, once time I was a youth, and at this particular time I managed to maneuver this and got this? And that's the discussions that we are having today on our special. And also our guest, or our presenter who is in Juba today on Youth Focus, will be also dealing on various issues regarding the youth and how they're supposed to move with it, keeping in mind that the show, or we had today a special episode for our viewers, so that is Equatorial TV viewers who have been watching or who are watching us. This is a special engagement between the viewers and the reporters, and all the way we've been covering special things to ensure that we will come up with the solutions and something that will have impact to our Equatorial TV viewers and youth at long. Because they say when you change one's life, you have changed the society life. What are the perceptions of the society towards the youth? Because, for instance, drugs have changed the perceptions. Crime is one of the things that normally affects the youth. What are we doing to ensure that we change our youthful stages and we come up with the solution that might bring us to end one drug abuse, especially young and very energetic guys are undergoing some challenges through hard life, and they have to suffocate in their life. Do you think this is the end, and how should we have to end this to ensure that drugs is the end. We silence the gun. We end up with the people that the society is very clean. Let's, I know each and every person might not be the same as the one, but they say if one spoils, the remaining will be also be mentioned as a spoiled one. But how do we change the perceptions of this? That we come up with a solution that will have to handle these problems. Today, being a international youth, you as a youth, what have you done to change the society and come up with the solutions that will have to end this violence, crime, drug abuse, and other things that might relate to these problems that youth normally encounter? And through these perceptions, we will be able to change the youth scenario. Let's be the youth. And when we become the youth, then it means we will have to focus. Let's look at the policies. If we attend the various barazas and various meetings that involves the governments and the society, it will be able to give us, we air out our grievances. And we say when we air out the grievances, it means our participations all, it will also change the perceptions and the organizations. It will shape the perceptions because the organizations, when we come up with the solutions, they will have to mentor and build the society. But if we don't attend those meetings, then it drags us behind, and it brings us to where or some of the challenges we are experiencing right now. Because if we have the say in our society, then the society will accept us. And once we have that acceptance, then it means we will have to go through a sessions of, also we have the mentor. If we have somebody that we mentors the youth. For instance, you see Nelson Mandela from South Africa or Barack Obama from US is the person who can mentor him. Take good of what Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama has done, then use that. Then we will have to build the society globally and come up with a person, or we become the to society. This is what we call 21st century. We become the people who know themselves and identify themselves. But when it comes to a particular place where we can't, one we normally have what we call vision. If you have the vision, then you don't perish. And then from there, you have to the mission. Then values come. If you have the values as a youth, it means different thing. You are separate yourself from other youth. How do you separate yourself from other youth? You come with the ideas. Those ideas, you implement it. How do we implement those ideas? We're supposed to have what you call friends. We have those friends and we have those links with people whom we can do things with, keeping in mind that this person is straightforward. Let's talk about youth being involved in rocky events, youth being involved in we have nowadays the homicide and suicide attempts. All the suicides have been so rampant. How are we going to work on this to ensure that we youth, we go or we end at this particular place, to ensure that we retain our dignity as youth, we retain our dignity as the young, and we also need to do what we call participations. For instance, in this uh, what we call government slots, we as youth, if we put on some efforts to ensure that we also implement those efforts, it will bring us to a certain particular place where we are able to go and move with particular rounding. For instance, we as the youth or the youth at large globally, it gives you a momentum and a very special, no one, or if somebody has passed through that sessions, it gives you a momentum where you can also recognize yourself, give yourself also values, and also know who you are. It will help you. So keep on sending the comments, and also we will keep in touch as we wait for our guest, that is the CEO for Law Society, Madam Wambua, to come and keep on the table, or we keep on ball rolling, so that we come up with the solutions as law and the youth. How do we move and how do we go? Particularly at this International Youth Celebrations Day, do we need to be where they are? What have you learned today? Where are we supposed to move? And how should we supposed to go with this particular movement? But through that, it is true that it will change our life. They normally say once you talk to somebody, that somebody changes her life or his life 100% specifically with the norm of who are you, or at what angle are you addressing this person particularly, keeping in mind that youth, the, almost the word three-quarter of it is youth. How are we youth using our youthful stage to invest and also do something that we will remember? You might have that different talents. You might be talented in football. Have you invested or have you done a lot about investment? You might be at young age, you managed to go to what we call the parliamentary sessions or the assembly session. Have you done a lot to ensure that youth are accommodated, youth are identified, youth are valid? Do you think what you've done is enough? Those are now the questions that we're supposed to ask ourselves as we go on and as we celebrate this international uh, International Youth Day, so that we get to understand how and why should we move as youth. Hmm, okay. So as our guest arrives or as our guest gets near to us, I just want to we get some comments from the other side of production. We get the comments for those people who have sent in the comments. Hmm, amen. So, and so madam, nimefanya PTC mpaka nimechoka. Na najua. So we just want to wind up. Yeah. Then we leave. Yeah. Sasa tu the last one, then we leave. Siku nahitaji sana, unajua iko kwa baridi, so obviously itahang. Seriously, eh. Mhm. So our viewers, indeed, as I've been, we had some recap on what has been going on. Our CEO, our guest, that is CEO, Madam Masi Wambua is back, and we just want to do some recap so that as we end these sessions or as we move on, we get to know the youth and the law. Now, Madam CEO, let's talk about the defensive mechanism of youth when it comes to law, because most of youth have been found at the wrong side while violating the law. What are they supposed to do to ensure that they don't find themselves in the wrong side?
What is important for every Kenyan, and most important, the youth, is to ensure that you comply with the law. There are very simple things that get the young people in the wrong hands of the law, and we know them. And I believe the young lawyers also know what is right and what is wrong. So, what is important is to create that culture of obedience of the rule of law and obedience of law. Don't follow what is wrong simply because other people are doing it. There is no need to follow a crowd simply because they are doing the wrong thing. Stick to the correct, narrow path. That is what is important. But in the event that you find yourself in the wrong side of the law, it's important to know that you also have a right to be taken through the due process of if it's charging you in court, and the due process must be followed. You have a right of representation by an advocate of your own choice. So it's important to have that information in your fingertips to use it to protect yourself. Also, the youth are capable of reading the law, getting to understand different processes that they need to follow. For instance, if you want to start a business, you need to ensure that you register your business with the business companies and do the right thing. And that way, you'll not find yourself in conflict with the law.
So, Madam CEO, let's talk about now the current groups that we have. You've been talking about the peer pressure. and they're more concerned about the youth. Some of the policies that have been put in place by various governments might not be so much effective for them to work or to start something up. What is your take on that? Keeping in mind that policy sets up and also sending yourself as a youth, you're supposed to know where and how to move. What is your take on this?
Like I said, it's important to have strong networks to be able to know where there are opportunities. And for youth, especially right now, it's a good time. As much as COVID has caused a lot of and continue to cause a lot of distraction, it also brings a very good opportunity for the youth to show themselves up. This is the time for youth to be very innovative and come up with very new ideas that will do away with the old ways of doing things. So there are a lot of opportunities for the youth to be able to make it and also improve the economy of our countries.
So, Madam C, as we part our shots, as we end this, what is your take or your final comments, especially for those youth who are choosy? Let me use the simple word choosy. They want to do what they feel they can do, keeping in mind that most of them preferable, they look for white collar job. Also, we have this challenge of overcrowding. For instance, jobs are no longer there, and that's when you find the youth being found in a very wrong way in when it comes to law. What is your take on this as we you give the final comments?
I started by saying that it's important for someone to know what they are good in, identify your talent, create your niche. Um, there is a lot that can be done. White collar jobs, yes, they are very attractive, but they also have their own limitations. We've seen youth take up self employment, innovation, and come up with brilliant ideas. They have been able to make it in life. So isn't really a straight jacket job or a right job for everyone. But it's important for us to be able to explore before you can be able to even at times identify what your area that you want to do is. So let's just be very liberal, take up legal jobs that are available in the market as you also raise probably finances, resources to be able to set up your dream job or your dream company as you'd like it to be.
So now, as we leave, we finalize your final comments, specifically youth and law, and also the other side, because you as a woman, you might be a mother, and also as this a youthful stage, we have some challenges. Your courage to the young women who are also having some focus like you, global, for instance, we are dealing with the world. What is your advice for them who are pushing on, or they also maybe they would like to be like you?
Being International Youth Day, I will definitely, my parting shot will be an encouragement to the youth. Yes, you can do whatever your dream is. Yes, you can achieve it. Um, Raise above the challenges that you might face in your day-to-day lives. And just like I've said, create a niche for yourself, and the future is bright for all of us.
Indeed, thank you so much, Madam C, for Law Society of Kenya. And as I've been told, live from Nairobi, Kenya, from the Law Society of Kenya, where we had been hosting Madam CEO, that is a Chief Executive Officer for Law Society of Kenya. From here back to Juba for our presenter, that is on Show Focus Show. Thank you so much for our viewers who have been making some follow up to this update. Thank you so much. Until next time, happy International Youth Day. From this side, I was your host, Kakanyuma.